Hello, everybody. Mr. Rubo here, doing the rational quiz review. We're going to look at number 13 here. Depending on how long this takes, I might split it up into a couple videos, but we'll see. Here we go. All right, so the first one, we have our polynomial. It wants us to use graphing or a sign chart to solve each of the following. I'm going to do the sign chart, and then I'll kind of put the graph over it, if you will. So the nice thing with the first one is it is factored for us already. So we have x minus 1 squared, 2 minus x. So if you solve each of those separately, we're going to get a 0 at 0 because of x, right? We'll get a 0 at 1. And then if you solve this, 2 minus x equals 0, you'll get a 0 at 2. So if you recall, we just do our number line and make sure you put them in numeric order. So 0, 1, and 2. And then we go ahead and we decide a number to substitute in. I would substitute in -1 just to make it easy. 2 minus -1. All right. And remember, all we really care about is the actual sign at the end. So here I would get -2, but then I'm squaring it, so that's 4. And then 2 minus -1 is +3. So I don't even have to go any farther than this. I know this is going to be a negative answer. Okay. Then remember, you can do the exact same thing in the middle section, or between 0 and 1. So I would choose like 0.5, substitute it in. Do the same with in between 1 and 2, which is 1.5 is what I would choose. And then choose a number for 3. Choose a number bigger than 2, so like 3. Or, depending on how you like it, how well you can analyze these, you can also look at the multiplicities. So if you think of, 0 came from this x, well, x here has a multiplicity of 1, which means it crosses. And by crossing, in terms of the sign chart, means that we're going from either negative to positive or positive to negative. So we are changing signs. Okay. And then if we do that same logic with 1, well, 1 came from this guy. Its multiplicity is 2, which, if you recall, 2 means bounce. Well, bouncing would mean you stay on the same side, which means if we were positive, we stay positive. And then last, the 2 minus x gave us the 2. Its multiplicity is 1, which again means it crosses. So there is our sign chart complete. Again, I just needed to know what happened at the beginning. And so now the last thing we have to do is actually care about what our answer is. So greater than 0 means the 2 positive sections. And I'm not including any zeros, so I have to keep them separate. So I would say from 0 to 1, union 1 to 2, and that is my answer for A. Okay. You would not want to do 0 to 2 because that would include 1, but 1 should not be included because it's a 0, and we don't include the answer. We don't include the ones that give us zeros. All right. So then moving right along to B, we're going to do the exact same thing. So let me go ahead, solve each of these. So this one gives me 5. This one gives me -2. This one gives me -3. Okay. Oh, and actually, before I go any further, just to kind of go back to this, the first one, let me show you what, if I graph this, and I can literally graph it on top of my sign chart, it'll start negative, it'll hit the 0 and cross, it'll come back to the 1 and bounce, and then it'll hit 2 and cross, and it will look like that if you were to graph it. Okay. But again, I did the sign chart because I like the sign chart. All right, same thing here. So for this one, I solved each one, including the denominator, right? The verticals do tell us are where we can cross or bounce, kind of. So if I put these in order, -3, -2, 5, I like to put a little VA, reminding me that the x plus 3 was in the denominator, so the -3 is a vertical. And now I'm going to do the exact same thing I did last time with the last problem and choose a number to substitute in. I'll choose -4, because why not? So I'll do it over here, -4 minus 5, -4 plus 2 over -4 plus 3. And then again, remember, I don't have to go all the way. I just have to get to a point where I know my answer is going to be positive or negative. So we can see here, negative times a negative is positive, but then we divide it by a negative. So this first section is negative. And the really nice thing is I can do the exact same thing that I did with the first one with multiplicities again here. And you can even just kind of see them all. They're all multiplicities of 1. Even this x plus 3 that's in the denominator, its multiplicity is 1. Even though it's a vertical, it still acts the same way in terms of the sign chart. So all of them are going to switch signs every time. So it's going to go negative to positive, multiplicity of 1. -2 is a multiplicity of 1, so it's going to go positive, negative. And then 5 has a multiplicity of 1. So it goes from negative to positive. So it's switching every time. And then again, I just want to look at whether I look at the positives or the negatives. Here I'm looking at the negatives, so that's this section and this one. So I can state my answer, -3 union -2 to 5. Now again, you want to be careful because we want to include all our zeros, but -3 is not a 0, it's a vertical. So I put a parenthesis there, but then at -2 and 5, we include them because they are zeros. So there is our final answer. And again, if you wanted to do this graphically, you would graph this, but it will look like this. So there's my vertical at -3. It would end up, actually this one would be a little difficult for you to graph because you would have to graph an oblique. But if you were to look off a graph, you'd have your function look something like that. And then it would flip up over here. It hit -2. Oops, pretend I actually hit that right. You would hit at -2, and then you would come back up, and it would look something like that. Obviously not a great picture because I'm trying to do it on here. But this one, you actually are kind of stuck doing sign chart because we didn't do obliques this year, and that would have an oblique asymptote. So. All right, let's just keep it going. This will be a little longer of a video, but we'll get all 4 done here. All right, so very similar to the last one, especially the last one because it is irrational here. So we get 5, 4, and 3 for our 3 numbers. All right, and you would go ahead and do your sign chart. 3, 4, and 5 go on our number line. And again, I'm choosing a number. Honestly, choose any number that you feel like would be easy to substitute in. So I'm going to choose 0. And yeah, because I don't need a lot. And technically you could choose, whatever. But I'm choosing 0 because I don't need to simplify fully. So if I look at this, -5 to the third. So I'm gonna write that like that. And then I have -4, and then 3. Well, -5 to the third is 3 negatives. So this is going to stay negative. But then I'm multiplying it by another negative, so that's positive. And then the denominator was positive. So after all of that, I get positive for this for this section to the left of 3. And then let's go again and look at their multiplicities. So at 3, it's a multiplicity of 1. Of 1, so it crosses. So it's negative. Then at 4, multiplicity of 1 again, so it crosses. And then we have a multiplicity of 3 at 5, but 3 also means crosses, right? It wiggles, but it still crosses. So this is what our sign chart would look like. I forgot to do something that I say I do every time, which is remark that that one is our vertical because that was from the denominator, right? So last thing is actually write our answer out. So we care about the positives, which is this section and this section. And just like the last one, you want to make sure you do not include 3, but then we will include 4 and 5 because those are zeros where 3 is the vertical. Okay. The last one here, and if you had some trouble with this one, that's good because it does not factor very easily. So this one, you technically need something that we did not teach you, which was potential rational roots. So because of that, you may have gotten stuck, and I will just tell you how this factors. And you, like I said, you would need to do something we didn't really go over. So this like starting off wouldn't go on there, but something like this could be on our quiz where it's already factored. So I am telling you this factors to this. Okay, how we get there again deals with something we didn't go over this year, which is potential rational roots. It involves some synthetic division, but you do not have to worry about that on the quiz. So really, if you were like really stumped on this one and you weren't sure and you left it blank, what I would do right now is pause this video, redo this problem, but now have it in this factored form, and then come back and watch the rest of this video of me going through it. Okay. Fine. Hopefully you did that. And we're going to go ahead and get going with the explanation here. So again, with the factors, solve them each separately, and just make sure this last one you solve correctly. It is -1/2. So now put them on our number line. -1/2 would be first, then 2, then 3. Okay, and I'm going to we'll substitute in -1 for this first spot. Okay, so I get what? -3 times -4 times -2 plus 1, so -1. 3 negatives is a negative. And then again, I like using the multiplicities. You don't have to. You can use just your basic substitution, but here they're all multiplicities of 1, so that means it's going to switch back and forth every time I hit a 0. Okay, and then our last thing again is to actually get our answer, which is the negatives. So and this time, because it's a polynomial, there are no verticals, so I do not have to worry about them. So I just say, I include -1/2, and then I will include 2 and 3. And there is my final answer. All right. Thank you for watching, and have a good day.